BODØ GLIMT 2, Tottenham 2, the points are shared over in Norway. Stay tuned to the very end to get my honest and brutal assessment on this game, whether it's a good point or not for Tottenham, whether it's 2 points dropped, what you're thinking about that performance. Very keen to get you involved. That's all coming in this video. Firstly, if you're new, please like and subscribe. Let's get straight into it. So, overall, I think it's a good point considering where we were in the game, 2-0 down. I will just say this is the third game now in a row where we've come from a losing position to get a draw. So, Tottenham's last 3 games in all competitions have ended draws. You can look at that whichever way you want. But the way I look at it is, it's good team spirit, it's good determination, it's good grit, and it's the right mentality, when the team's playing for each other, playing for the manager. And Thomas Frank had this in his managerial career before. He had it at Brentford. He's just kind of never die attitude. They're never out of games. Brentford used to drop points, yes, but they also used to gain a lot of points from kind of losing positions. But the thing is, there's a big difference. Against Brighton, I think we played well over the 90 minutes, and that was a deserved point. Wolves, I think we probably deserve a little bit more. This game we didn't play well and we got the point. Of course, it's always a better point when you don't play well, because you think, oh, maybe did we deserve that, etc. But for me, the result was the most important thing in football. And yes, the results will eventually catch up on you, but if you're getting the results and you're not playing well, that bodes well, because you're only going to improve and increase your chance of getting even better results. So another good comeback. We shouldn't keep going behind though. That's the other toss of the coin in this situation, and getting ourselves into this sticky mess. It's a sticky situation. We either start bad or concede too easily. However, it's great to see that kind of team spirit, to never give in, kind of never die, not accepting that defeat attitude. So that's admirable. And you've got to note that normally people go to BODØ GLIMT and get a win. Of course we did. A lot of people allude to and use it against Frank that we did under Ange Postecoglou go there and win. And we also won at home as well. We've done the double over them when we played them in the Europa League. But what I would say is this BODØ team is clearly a lot better than we last played them. Being the Champions League rather than the Europa League is just one example of that. But I thought they're well-oiled, well-drilled side. You could tell the excitement around the stadium. So, and some would even say that if Ange Postecoglou was in charge, although we'd done the double over them under him last season, that we went to BODØ, went to Norway and got that win, some would say that we would have lost this game. We wouldn't have shown that fight back and we could have collapsed after being 2-0 down. That's an interesting point. But both our goals were really nice goals. That goal for the first goal for us anyway, to put it back to 2-1, to keep us kind of sniffing around in the game. It was a big goal at the time. It was a beautiful ball by Pedro Porro. I think has a huge part in that, and it's a lovely finish from Van de Ven, little glanced header. Then that second goal, I don't think Richarlison knows too much about. We're absolutely claim. But again, it's a nicely worked goal, really good move. Porro, kudos. So some good stuff. But overall, standout performance for me. I thought Odegaard looked good, but as with Odegaard in every game, he has 2 or 3 really good moments, really good, but then you don't notice him for the rest of the game. But if he's getting goals and assists, that's all that matters. That's what Brennan Johnson certainly does. So if Odegaard can do that, I'd be happy with that. But Van de Ven standout performer. There was one moment where, I think it was poor from him, where he's like the shirt pulling and he's not happy with the decision where we scored, but it was overturned. I remember that because of the shirt pull for Van de Ven, and I get his point that it's kind of, it's one of those, probably depends on the referee where he's going to stand or not, but I don't know what he's thinking so close to the referee, just why need to pull his shirt back. I think it's unnecessary from Van de Ven. Then he lashed out down the other end, gave away a silly foul and a cheap yellow card, but apart from that, he captained the side well. I thought done very well. Some really key last minute kind of last ditch tackles. Of course, got his goal as well to put it back to 2-1. So they were all standouts, but I thought Paolini had come on and really kind of set the tempo, not just set the tempo, but added real controlness and calmness in that midfield that we just didn't have before. I thought Kudus come on for something different, a bit explosive, but he just couldn't keep hold of the ball, which was frustrating. Simmons as well, showing energy, getting into good positions, but that was it, not too much more apart from that. But Archie Gray for me is the one making the big impact, and he made such a big impact that I'm saying, should he start the next Premier League game against Leeds on Saturday? Because being Leeds as well makes sense, great former club. but I just thought he put in a really good performance, gets that assist, which he works really hard for, and just seemed to be everywhere in the few minutes he was on the pitch. Individuals that struggled, I thought Sarr struggled, I thought Johnson struggled, so it's not too much anyway though to look into, but what matters in the end is that we haven't lost this game. At the start they would have taken a draw, we probably would have gone okay, it's an okay result, but we probably could have won it, but 2-0 down in that second half, I always think if you're 2-0 down away from home in Europe, in the Champions League, that's best as you rephrase that, because let's go to the Champions League, because it's even harder. You're 2-0 down away in the Champions League, a tough venue to go, and you pull it back to 2-2 with not that long remaining, then I think that's a very good point. Then we've got to look at this game and go, be happy with the point, but also look at where we can improve and the performance in general, because to be honest, there were times in particular in that first half where I thought if BODØ had a little bit more quality in the final third, or they could take the chances they should have won, they should have scored more goals and won by more. But I'll be totally honest with you, I was really impressed with that BODØ performance, and if anyone deserved to win it, it would be BODØ GLIMT, believe it or not. As a Spurs fan, I can admit that. I think they created more chances, very unlucky, that missed penalty in that first half, and yes, chance after chance, it just lacked a little bit more composure and quality in the final third. But I'm very worried how vulnerable we looked, even with the likes of Bentancur in there. So that was extremely disappointing. However, the result is all that matters in football, and we got that in the end, and we showed real character to come back from what was a bad day at the office overall. Thank you very much for watching. I hope it makes sense. That is my instant match reaction, and not so instant today, but that's the aim of it, to this game. If you want a more analysis of this game, I have a player ratings shortcoming, but I'll be having a Scarfey Spurs Talk podcast I could do twice a week, Monday and Thursday night, 8 p.m, live on YouTube. So this Thursday we'll be reviewing BODØ and looking ahead to Leeds United. So that's Thursday, 8 p.m, live on YouTube. If you're new, like, subscribe, and for now, massive come on, you Spurs.